although a lot of the popular options have been taken out. And without knowing your pause 1, you can't really hammer in some combos like, say, if you take the Oracle, you could still do that, but you're gonna have to think about what you want to pick on pause 1 next, just to tie in the combo. They go with a Keeper of the Light, so that is one way to kind of get some good harassment out early on. You've got some pretty decent damage coming out now, especially magic damage early on. Good wave clear as well with that Coddle, and the Will-O-Wisp tends to really change the way these fights break out, so you are building up some fight combinations here. But Arkosh, do dip into the Enigma that we sort of talked about a while ago. You've got the Rubik. There's no room for, say, a Silencer here for Felt, so the Enigma should have a pretty good time getting black holes here.
Yeah, it definitely should be. There definitely isn't much in the way of cancelling that off. I do get a little bit concerned with Enigmas because I think to myself all the time, is it going to be able to do anything in the game? Because we see it so often with Enigma pickups where they dominate the lane, they're able to deny full creep waves with the Eidolons, but then afterwards you hit the mid to late game and they're just never able to find a big black hole, and they become somewhat useless. But like you pointed out, there's not much in the way of cancelling that black hole this game, especially if the Enigma does manage to pick up a BKB early on. You don't have heroes like the Beastmaster that are available to be picked up because Felt did ban it out themselves. So you are probably going to need something that goes through BKB to stop that black hole. And for now, there's nothing. Whether Felt want to pick one up, it does seem like it's going to be pretty important. Otherwise, you might just have a free Enigma game, which is generally very nice for the Enigma player. But Felt, 2 picks left, their 4th pick now. They'll have a bit of a deep think about this one. They still have that offlane pick to make. And I think this is probably around the time you want to make it. Okay, no, they'll go for the position 1 Terrorblade. Now, I was going to bring up the Batrider, John. I was going to say maybe you go the Batrider, Lasso will go through BKB. It's a nice way to cancel off the black hole. Problem is, Batrider copped a really big nerf.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was... They just deleted the hero again. So Batrider's just non-existent now. You could still play it for the Lasso, but that's really all the value you're getting out of it. The sticky napalm's just complete garbage now.
Yeah, it's gonna kill off the hero's flash farm for sure. The Terrorblade comes out for Felt though. Doesn't deal with their Enigma issues, but it is a really solid pause 1 to have. There is some decent magic damage here. Like you're amplifying the damage out with the Rubik. You've got Thunderstrike to help you track Terrorblade as well. Then there's the whole issue of Black Hole. Monkey King doesn't mind too much fighting as long as he's got Wukongs around. And you could potentially give some decent enough spells away to the Rubik. Like, say you give away a Reflection, that could be annoying to play into. So we'll see if Felt can hit their timings here with Comfort's Terrorblade. At the least, Felt, with the Enigma pickup, they've got the Keeper for Light for D-Push. So they can play with Illuminate to at least shove the Eidolons back. But the black hole in the team fight from Arkosh is always going to be that lingering issue, and I'm not sure if there's anything left for them to last pick here to kind of tie it in. You can see the focus of Felt. They're focusing on banning out some big pause ones. The Morphling and the PL are taken out of the pool, but honestly, anything Arkosh takes now in 1, I think, is going to be really solid here. Terrorblade, it's been fading in and out. I think recently it's definitely not been as popular in the last half of the DPC for good reason. The timings are back and forth. Going towards late game, you're tied into your Metamorphosis timing, which is fairly long of a cooldown. At like, say, 25 to 30 minutes, it's already starting to feel long in the tooth. So Felt have to play pretty on point with the timings from Comfort this game just to maximize his TB early on.
Fair enough. Their last pickup as well, John. 12 seconds left of reserve time for this final pick for Felt. They are still lacking that off lane, but they could potentially put the Void off and choose another mid, and they will. They go for the Queen of Pain last pick. So it's an off-lane Void Spirit, I believe we're seeing here. Which is fair enough. You still don't have a way to cancel Black Hole, which is my big concern for the side of Felt, but that's assuming they get a BKB up on this Enigma, which does take a little bit of time. Arkosh now, however, they either need a mid or they need a safe lane. And it seems as though Felt believe Canis Vulpus will be taking the mid Monkey King this game around. So perhaps we're just waiting for another safe lane pick here to go up against the TB. Anything that comes to mind, John? I mean, I would have liked to see the Morphling, of course, but that was also removed in that last ban phase from Felt, so you're not going to have that available to you. Anything else that kind of pops into your mind here that might be nice up against the TB?
For pause 1, Arkosh has the option for, say, a Slark. Again, that's something Arkosh has dipped into a couple of times for themselves. If they want to, they go with the Invoker instead. So they are running that safe lane Monkey King to avoid the Quap matchup, which is really nice. Like, they take the Monkey early when they saw the Void Spirit. That's a matchup that really favors the Monkey. One of the few matchups that the Void Spirit does enjoy. So Invoker coming out, Invoker versus Quap is a little bit more even, much more manageable for the Invoker. Still annoying, but it's much more playable. So you've got some back and forth here. Really nice team fight coming out from Arkosh. Felt they've got some early timings to hit. Like Metamorphosis is just so strong, allows you to push fast and kind of counteract the push that the Enigma wants to do with Eidolons. You've got Just Us to defend your towers as well if you want to. They need to hit their level 6s fast on Felt. They need to hit 6 fast on Tana, especially on the Nyx, just to get the Vendetta, get the scouting ability out, the burst damage out, and really play around the early Metamorphosis. I'd say 10-minute mark, you want to take at least 1 tier 1 and start to buy some space out for the TB to farm up. Arkosh, for their part, I mean, there's some slow cooking here, right? Enigma core, Gremlo's playing it. You're going to need to wait for your timings. You can just safely deny a range creep. You can double deny the range creep, in fact, or double deny a wave at the first start. But you need to save up. That BKB time you talked about is very important. Because before that, like, Nyx Assassin just kind of ruins that. He sees the black hole, walks up with Spike Carapace, and you don't get any black hole anymore.
Absolutely not. See how Arkosh want to play this again. It's going to be very important for them to get this victory to at least have a chance at forcing a 3-way tiebreaker for that final spot in the upper division of the NADPC for Season 2. A lot on the line here. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Felt have nothing to play for. They are going to be back next season for the lower division. But they aren't going to have the ability to go up to the upper division. And as you can see, Canis already starting to talk, and Zor is asking them not to. It is allowed, I believe, right? You can actually talk trash if you wish in the game. I'm not 100% sure if this is actually banned for Arkosh.
I don't believe there's a direct rule on all chat. There might be like a conduct rule. I don't know. I'm not a rule book reader, but looks like both teams are in good spirits. If you actually scroll up, Goat calls out, "Impressive, Kyle. It only took 5 attempts." Kyle strikes again. Poor Kyle.
Kyle has a lot on his hands this game around for sure. Let's see what dirty tactics Arkosh get up to in this game, number 1. I'm wondering as well, like, we've been seeing a lot with these Enigmas, and you were just pointing this out, that they like to deny a lot of the creep wave with those Eidolons. I'm curious to see if Felt will come towards Gremlo now and just kind of soak the XP from those denied creeps, but it looks like nobody is going to come around. They're just going to let it go. Meanwhile, there's a Monkey King in the Radiant base, John. Oh, and he's going for the couriers! They're all outside the fountain!
Oh boy.
Oh, he's going to get one at least. And he gets the SF, or rather the TP courier. Comfort is going to lose his courier straight off the bat. A great little play there by Pale Horse, and that's going to be a couple minutes without his courier. You love to see it,
additional goal at the start, but definitely a really nice play coming out there. Just gives you a good injection of gold as well, going 2-2 for bounties, but you get an early courier kill, an additional gold injection, going to help out every single lane get that initial regen up. Especially important for Canis Vulpus mid, right? Like, this is a Invoker versus Quap lane. You want to get some early regen up first, and Gremlo wants a 4v4. I'm surprised Gremlo is talking. I thought all he could say is Gremlo. I didn't know he could actually talk.
I'm not 100% sure with Gremlo, John. He's a strange character, this guy. As you can see, he's just trying to body block this wave right now, but the range creep is going to make its way past. Not to worry, though, he can still deny it off if he so wishes with the Eidolons, and he will. Of course, some of the XP is going to go to Comfort, but, you know, you deny a lot of it away anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. And so with that bot lane, you've got Justice and Comfort there up against Crow and Gremlo, and I dare say this should not be an easy lane for Comfort. But while you can't really harass him out, you can deny a lot of creeps away from this TB. And of course, he does pop the meta early on, which is definitely good news for him, but once that meta wears off, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for it.
Oh yeah, the beauty of the Enigma into Kotl is, Kotl tends to go Illuminate level 1 to snipe that range creep. Enigma makes that impossible. So you're not getting value from Justice here, or at least not as much value as you'd want, as you don't have a range creep to snipe. And the positioning from Gremlo on his Eidolons is pretty on point as well, just spacing them out as far as possible to avoid that damage. So we'll see what Felt can do to repair that lane. Another courier of Felt falling down. That's a good snipe out from Crow. That is an Obs ward and additional regen, so you're having less information in the lane now, and it's a really good use of that early aggressive ward in the lane, just making most of that information they've got in hand.
Absolutely. Mid lane, of course, we haven't really talked about this one yet. John Canis Vulpes on the Invoker up against Tay on that Queen of Pain. So far, quite an even matchup, but Canis is ahead by 2 CS. Now, you were talking about the fact that the Invoker is not going to have that much more of a tough time than other mids up against that Quap, but I would still argue that Tay should have a pretty big advantage on that Queen of Pain, but at least for now, he is struggling just a bit in terms of CS.
Yeah, it's been a bit tricky for Tay. Level 3 for the Invoker is a pretty decent point. You can regen a lot better with the Quas. We are starting to approach that point where power runes are going to be a big thing. The Quap's going to have a slight mobility advantage if you get the value point in the blink, but so far, no investment yet. We'll see if that's something Tay picks up down the line. But you can see Canis Vulpes. He sees the opportunity to trade right clicks. Tay can't do too much. You would like to get up close for the Scream, but really good spacing so far from Canis Vulpes to prevent too much harassment out. And Tay, because he did focus on that Scream, is not getting as much damage out as you'd expect. Not even getting in range for the Shadow Strike because he loses the right-click trades.
Yeah, very upsetting stuff here for Tay. Of course, up towards that top lane, you've got Goat there on the Disruptor and Pale Horse on that Monkey King. Another courier, once again, Comfort is going to lose his second courier of the game, and Crove, just with that one Observer Ward in the lane, just continues to snipe couriers out. I'm not sure if Comfort actually got any items off the courier that time around. As of right now, he only has a Wraith Band up. So this is becoming very, very annoying for Comfort, I'm sure, on this TB.
Oh yeah, it's not a fun time, and they're really maximizing that bot lane still. You can see how much space Crow is giving out to Gremlo, trying to not soak too much EXP onto pause 4, which isn't what you tend to see, although he's slowing down now.
Crow, he's set to die. Comfort, he will get at least a bit of sweet revenge with that first blood gold, and that's going to allow him to catch up just a little bit, because Comfort is currently holding on to 1.1k worth of gold, because he can't really spend it without a courier. So he's just going to hold on to it for now and just try to decide what he wants. Meanwhile, a lot of rotations into the mid lane. Justice trying to make sure Tay gets it, but no, Crow. A great deny off on the Rubik, and now Tay is going to die. Oh, that is disgusting. Crow not allowing anything for this poor Queen of Pain. Meanwhile, top lane, they're going to try and make the play onto Pale Horse now, but Pale Horse should be just fine. They don't have the control nor the damage output to take him out, and now with the Jingu Mastery, he could just turn back around onto Zor, and Zor is kind of just zoned out of this lane. Very unfortunate stuff here for Felt.
This is a lane that we haven't talked about yet, but you could see it in the draft, right? Like, they saw the Void Spirit, they immediately picked up the Monkey King on Arkosh's end, and even if they dodge that mid matchup, the offlane matchup for the Void Spirit isn't any better. Pale Horse is up 28-12 right now, not slowing down at all by the Void Spirit. Zor is having a hard time finding that initial farm, and Tane is trying to be aggressive, but
I think he's gone, John. Boundless is available. He will spy Carapace, but Pale Horse did pump fake for that, and he doesn't even need to use the Boundless Strike. Just takes him out. First kill of the game there for Pale Horse, but like you mentioned, with his CS, he's already feeling very, very good. Things are just getting tougher and tougher as the game continues now. Looks like Gremlo has an opportunity to get the third courier from Comfort. Comfort cannot keep a courier alive. At least this time he got his treads up, but that's the third one to go down for this Terrorblade.
yeah, that's a huge amount of gold that's just pouring into Arkosh just from these courier kills. They maintain a slight 1k lead, but you're giving so much free gold away in a lane where the Enigma's just constantly denying out as well. Like, Comfort's still finding some farm here, 28-10, but Gremlo is way up there as well, 29-12 with his denies. from that demonic conversion. So you're getting a lot more value from Arkosh. These early movements out have been favoring them so far. Felt they still need some levels up. Their supports are really kind of sacked. Like Tana right now, it's still level 2 in that Nyx. He had to rotate bot just to try to control that lane a bit better. Now that he's here, he can't really do much. And this slower progression, especially for Nyx, is going to hurt that presence once you find other heroes getting 6 and your Nyx is stuck at, say, level 5 down the line.
Absolutely. Very, very difficult times for Felder's bot lane. They are starting to posture. Maybe trying to make a play onto Gremlo, but as you can see, the Illuminate just flew straight through Gremlo, and he had the raindrop, so no real damage being applied. And now he will start posturing aggressively with his team, as you do have Goat there, along with Kayn as Vulpes. They'll try to slow Gremlo down. Maleficus was there, onto Comfort. It's going to lead to nothing, but with Arkosh now, with these Eidolons up, you can slowly start sieging away at that tier 1 tower, and Kayn, as he just doesn't care. He's going straight behind that tier 1 tower to try and look for the enemy. Tornado, it was going to be on point, but it is a little bit late. But they can, again, just settle for that tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, though, mid lane Crow could be in trouble here on the Rubik. He doesn't really know that Thana is behind him. Going to try and farm that mid creep wave, but now Thana comes in with a nice impale, and that should be Crow dead. But he's going to try and buy some time, as Gremlo is coming in with a black hole, but Sonic Wave is going to make sure they get the kill. And now Gremlo, I don't think he wants to commit the black hole. He's going to let the Nyx Assassin go. They do at least get themselves a Rubik kill on the side of Felt, but at the bot lane, Justice does also die to Goat on the Disruptor.
Yeah, and they're making use of that rotation out to get some punishment on Arkosh. And a good kill to pick up down mid, especially since it went out to Tay. And the pop definitely needs as much as it can find in this early point, but overall, you're still happy with Arkosh. You're still getting that shove in on the bot lane with just Canis Vulpes, even without the Enigma. That bot tier went down to 431 HP. You're not seeing an equivalent push out from Felt. And that's something that we talked about them having to pick up by the 10-minute mark. You want to see the tier 1s under pressure. You want to see your TB showing a bit in lane, shoving out with a Metamorphosis. But because of Comfort's start, you're not going to see that anytime soon here.
No, you are not. He just needs to try and catch up on this TB. Trying to go for the Yasha right now, but bot lane, Thana in danger. EMP does connect, and he does pop the Spike Carapace. In fact, Zor's here now with the Astral Step. They'll take down Goat and Canis. Does barely get away with the Ghost Walk, but now Gremlo's in trouble, and he can't really pop the Black Hole, as there's going to be no backup, but he's going to juke them out quite nicely, Gremlo. Oh, can he really get himself out? He's going to go for the TP attempt, and he is going to make it. The Aether Remnant was on target, but again, just a bit too late. And Gremlo will get the tip from Tay, and he deserves it, John. That's a great juke out from our Enigma.
Oh, definitely a good move out. And they switch lanes immediately. That's a 4-man down bot. They get to pressure mid instead. Justice does show his face to D-shove, but it's a level 4 Keeper for Light with level 1 Illuminate. It's not the most amazing damage at this point in the game. They do save their bot tier 1. But it's really not doing much for the rotation out. You're still sacrificing your Nyx EXP, especially since Tane is still stuck at level 3, and that's an issue. Oh.
They've got Zor. They could commit black. Oh, Gremlo, no.
Gremlo.
He had to try. They might still find Zor anyway. The Astral Step is on cooldown. Pale Horse going to try and clean up this mistake made by Gremlo, and should be able to get it eventually. In fact, Goat will be the one to take it. So that's your first black hole of the game gone. Bit unfortunate there for Arkosh, but they do still get the kill regardless of that miss. So, all in all, we could pretend like that never happened.
Yeah, I didn't see anything happen there. It is on cooldown, not sure why. But Arkosh, they find a really good kill. And Felt can't use anything with that rotation out. They see the commitment down bot. They're clumped up mid, but they're not really getting any significant damage on the tower. And while all of that movement comes out, they are buying space out for Comfort at least. His top lane, he's given some space to farm out. Has his Yasha, trying to get a shove in with a Metamorphosis while he can on that top tier 1. He does have a Siege Creep, so he should be able to get some significant damage in. And this is the kind of movement you want out from Felt. Doesn't look like Arkosh is going to be able to defend, so at the least, Felt does get a clean tier 1 tower take for themselves after some time.
That they do. Nice little rotation there from Comfort. Look at these stacks here from Crow as well. Just great stacking from the Rubik. But the problem is now that that tier 1 tower is gone, Felt, while they really shouldn't, they may feel comfortable enough to start rotating into that dire jungle, but Arkosh, they've smoked up and they're heading exactly that way. There is a retreat from Felt back into their own triangle now, and Goat will have his smoke broker trying to run up. This is very dangerous here from Goat, but is he going to get punished? Looks like he will. The Illuminate will be enough, but now the Tornado EMP on Tay. Well, the EMP won't really reach the Queen of Pain, so he's going to be okay to back off, and they'll go for a counter smoke. If they can find a kill here on the side of Felt, then they may be able to rotate and try to take those stacks away. And with this smoke, they should be able to scout out these stacks. Unless Thana walks the other way, but they do spot out Pale Horse instead. Now Tay will see the stacks. Pale Horse just holding his ground. Goat gonna come in. Thana still in Viz. Courier there from Pale Horse is not gonna get sniped, and Thana is get hit by the Primal Spring, but he's been very patient, and Pale Horse now realizes he is surrounded and he is going to go down, but Crow is going to go for the lift up onto Thana. Spy Carapace there, but they want Tay instead. They want that big Queen of Pain, and they are going to be able to find him, surely. They do. They'll let Thana TP out. It's about time they try to take these stacks, but they've got to wait for their MK to be back up before they really do so. And I believe Tay did scout out the stacks in that dire jungle, so they may continue to try and be aggressive around that area.
Yeah, it's a good movement out from Felt. You win out that trading Quap for the MK. The MK is a much bigger target for Arkosh to lose than finding that Quap. And honestly, Felt's doing quite nice now. Like, it was slow lane for comfort, but he is finding free farm. They are going to shove in that mid-tier 1, which gives more control for Arkosh. There is a fourth fighter, and they're coming in.
Goat back himself out. Justice will continue moving forward for a nice blinding light. Kane, as he turned back around for that tier 1 tower, but it may cost him his life, and he will go down. Tay able to pick up the kill. Onto Goat they go, but a nice deny there by Gremlo, making sure they can't find a secondary kill, but they are going to find something even better, and that's that tier 1 mid tower. And once this is gone, then you have free reign over that dire jungle, and I'm sure that's exactly where Feld are planning to go.
Oh yeah, it's such a beautiful move out from Felt. They save their tier 1 mid. It's down at 100 HP. They still got more time here.
Yeah, Comfort. He's just going to dive the tier 2 a little bit, send the illusions in. They aren't going to be able to get the job done, though. He did not want to dive the tier 2 to really secure the kill himself. But that's fine. Comfort. He just needs to keep farming up on this TB to be effective. And that he will do.
Yeah, I mean, he's been given so much space out. They are chasing Zor, though.
Can they catch him? Yeah, he's got the Astral Step out. That'll be enough for him to make his way out of there. Meanwhile, Felt moving into that dire jungle. They did miss out on the big stack, but they will still be able to find another here. So not all is lost for Felt. Definitely still really nice news for them. They really should be able to control this map up now that mid-tier 1's gone. You'd expect Arkosh to try and take the opposing mid-tier 1, and as I say, that Zord does actually deny it off. So there you go now. The map is opened up for both teams. But Gremlo going to be the first one to get jumped here by Zor. Midnight Pulse is there with the Malefice, but it's not going to be enough to hold Zor down. He's going to be able to get out. The rest of Felt were there just in case Gremlo thought he could black hole that.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they found that gold from mid-tier 1, but at the least now Arkosh can roam a bit safer in that bot jungle. They're going to try to get as much as possible right now. They've been really hungry for blood. Like, they've been trying to buy out space for Pale Horse. He pretty much has his Ags bought out, and he does finish it up. So you're hitting a major spike for the Monkey King. This is Ags without a Battle Fury or anything, so you're not getting extreme right-click damage and extreme cleave coming out from the inside itself, and they miss. Ooh.
Yeah, into the black hole. Gremlo not playing around, and Thana, he wanted to cancel, and eventually does with the Spy Carapace. Now taking a move back in to get a double kill. I thought it was going to pan out a bit better than that, but they didn't really have enough damage with the Enigma and the Disruptor. They needed a +1, preferably a core, and they just didn't have it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Arkosh. Those were two. I mean, the black hole is such a big cooldown to commit. If you don't find the kill, you lose your offlaner plus a support. It's a 4K lead now for Felt, so they are hitting these timings really well. Look at Comfort, leading the pack right now in terms of net worth. 10K gold compared to 7.5K here on Pale Horse, given way too much space out in the TB, and Arkosh has not been able to punish past lane phase and Tay.
Yeah, he's gonna maybe find another one here. They do EMP, but it's not going to be enough mana drain. But the cold snap and the lift up is going to be enough. Tay does go down, and now Thana. He's running. He should be alright. Does have Justice there, just in case. I was going to point out, John, I mean, Pale Horse has been farming extremely well on the MK. Like, he's got the Ags up, and he's going for the Maelstrom next, but it's very hard to compete with the Terrorblade when it comes to farming.
Oh yeah, it just doesn't compare right now with how much more Comfort has. Again, this is from a lane where he lost his courier 3 times and was receiving a lot of Enigma denies, but it doesn't look like it matters at all. They are still keeping up the hunt in Arkosh, though. Zor could be the target here.
He does get caught out with that Tornado from Canis, but does go forward to dissimulate, and Astral steps back towards the south. He's going to try for the TP, playing Crow. Could not make his way into that tree line. Sunstrike is there, but it's way too late, and of course they also had Pale Horse coming in with the tree dance, but that was also just a little bit too late. They miss out on another kill. I think the big timing for Arkosh is whether they can get this BKB up on Gremlo. He did opt to go for the Necro 1 book first to escalate his farm a little bit and give him some more push potential. He already has the blink up, but really needs the BKB so he doesn't get stunned up through the Spike Carapace. And once that's up, then you have a lot more team fight there for Arkosh. Speaking of team fight, they've got the Terrorblade mid lane in the Static Storm, but where's your damage output? They haven't really got it, and now Zor looking to turn it back around. He's going to try and go onto Goat. Goat still on the run, and looks like he is going to be able to make it out. Or I say that, Tay and Thana going to come in from the side, and Goat is still caught, and is going to die. And Felt, they have meta. They might be able to pressure this mid-tier 2 tower a little bit.
They definitely can. There's one member down, no Static Storm to worry about, although.
Zor, Simulate going to be out. He's going to be fine for now. Tornado not going to connect on Zor. Went back for the Aether Remnant, but that also misses. And now Pale Horse look for a balance, does not connect. And Canis Vulpus, he goes down. They can't kill him off yet. Now Gremlo moving in, but he can't get the kill either. Aether Remnant won't really land, however, so Gremlo is going to run his way out. But now Comfort, he's got the meta up. They kill off Goat, they'll kill off Gremlo. And they'll take over the Dire Triangle. And this is turning into a really bad game for Arkosh now, as they are falling very, very far behind.
They just can't play around their spikes. They're being picked off one by one. And it's not major misplays. Like they were on the retreat earlier with the Disruptor. They just stay around a bit too long. They underestimate the jump of Felt. Zor was really annoying, jumping in and out, highly effective on this Void Spirit so far, just forcing responses out that don't quite work out. Although Thana,
yeah, Thana's in the mid lane, but Spike Carapace was available, and now Canis is the one in trouble. But there's not really any help coming in. Thana is still set to drop, and does. In fact, Canis will continue moving onto Justice. But the Keeper of the Light does manage to back himself up, and of course just gets back to spamming Illuminate in that mid lane. Nice easy stuff for the Keeper. And now Arkosh, a 4-man smoke. Arcane going to be picked up by Gremlo. They want to commit this black hole and try to get it on a very low cooldown. Yule's up on Zor, Justice, they're both going to be caught in a black hole on Tay. Oh, that is a very awkward pause timing. But there's no way to cancel this black hole. Nobody's around to stun up Gremlo. They are guaranteed to die here, so Arkosh aren't really losing anything.
no. There's no Nyx. If you buy back in TP, it's going to be a bit too late, so they should find a really nice pickup. Zor has been really annoying on that Void Spirit. Really good punishment out, and very timely kill. Zor's trying to save up for his Ags. This is going to put it down a peg just a bit. This is, of course, some space out for Comfort, along with some space out for Tay as well. So that's like the silver lining here for Felt. They know that they've got some room to farm up. and not worry about. And speaking of farm, Comfort still in the lead here, 12k net worth. Pale Horse is lagging behind at 9.6, so definitely not quite closing that gap yet. I believe Comfort is saving up for his Butterfly now as well. Has the Eagle Song up. So our TB hits like a truck. The key thing now for Felt is to just keep playing around at Metamorphosis, and for Arkosh, well, this is exactly what they want. Play with Black Hole timings, play while Static Storm's up, find some pickoffs, wait for that BKB to take the bigger fights, and try to get that space out for Pale Horse. Like, once he has that Maelstrom up, it's going to shoot his DPS up by a bunch, but I think we need to see a little bit more from this Monkey King for him to keep up with the power spikes that Felt are meeting now.
You know what I find really interesting, John? If you zoom into this black hole, you can actually see the side of the heroes that are pointing towards the black hole have gone completely black, as in, like, the actual darkness from an actual black hole. It's actually quite interesting. Because isn't that how it works? Like, a black hole is just pure dark matter.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of matter there, and if you get sucked in, unable to get pulled out, no buybacks, but Comfort did TP in. He wants to clean up.
Yeah, I mean, they could go after Goat, but the tornado's there from Canis. Lift up as well from Crow. Impale, nicely placed there from our Rubik, and now Canis turning back around with the Ice Path. Static Storm also being dropped. They might be able to kill off this TB now. He's dropping very low, but they don't have the damage, or maybe they do. Pale Horse jumps in with the Boundless Strike and does manage to secure the kill before the Sunder can come out. Thana trying to run. Pale Horse is on the case, however, and does get the Jingu Mastery. And Crow does take the kill on the Rubik. Very, very nice stuff here from Arkosh, really bringing it back their way. And it only cost them Goat on the Disruptor.
That was a curious movement out from Comfort. He TP'd in, and he was alone for a long time chasing up. Maybe he was waiting for the backup, waiting for Tay to TP in as well and get the chase off. But trading your TB out for nothing is a very bad time for Felt. So they lost their biggest target hero. That's a good amount of gold going the way of Arkosh now. They're still lagging behind by 6k. So it's not all roses just yet, but they might find more if Tay's not careful.
They missed the tornado. Tay's just going to stay in the tree line and does have the blink back up if he needs it. Zor going to run into Crow now. Crow does go for the Impel. Goat is there, but doesn't have Static Storm up for another 15. It will be enough time, however, for Crow to just be able to blink away from this Void Spirit. Into the mid lane, Pale Horse. Let's cop and Illuminate. There's a nice double damage rune down towards the bot rune spot, but Goat will just go ahead and deny that off. Their Monkey King wasn't really anywhere near that rune to take. They do seem heavily reliant on Pale Horse having a good game here on this MK. So if they don't have him around for these team fights, even with the Black Hole and the EMP and the Static Storm, they're just lacking so much damage.
Oh yeah,
Go.
Simply not enough, although.
Yeah, nice. Bring back with the Glimpse, and, well, you don't really need much damage for Justice, but you might need a little bit. Justice will eventually go down. Now Zor, another nice Impale out from Crow. Zor is still trying to fight this one out. Meanwhile, Tay with the Sonic Wave killing off Goat. But they might lose this Void Spirit as Pale Horse has joined in now, and Zor is going to go down. And meanwhile, Tay with the Black Hole has been caught out. But is it going to be enough? The Midnight Pulse and Maleficus was there, and Pale Horse with the Primal Spring is on target. Tay gets lifted up, and Crow does ensure they get the kill. But now Comfort in from the backside does kill off Gremlo. But I don't think he's going to find anyone else. Nobody really around Comfort. I'd say that is still going to be a pretty decent win for the side of Arkosh.
Oh yeah, they find the punishment out. They get the numbers win. The 3-for-2 trade for Felt, so not quite the ideal for Felt. Just a bit too late with Comfort joining in. He does have his Butterfly. So you're seeing the effect of this hard-hitting TB showing up in these fights. Can just rip through any hero from half HP or just even a little bit more than that and clear out. And that is something Arkosh will have to be very conscious about now. They did commit Black Hole. It is going to be down for 2 minutes. They did have, before that Black Hole use, like a while ago in mid, they did have it with the Arcane Root. So it was a lot lower of cooldown, which enabled Arkosh to play fast. Now it's back to the waiting game. This should be enough time to help Gremlo build into that BKB though. So by the time You have that next black hole. You should be at least one part away from your BKB. Maybe wait out a little bit more, and once you have that, it should be easier to get those black holes.
Absolutely. Because that butterfly is going to make it quite difficult for Pale Horse to actually get the damage output. In fact, speaking of, Thana has started a gank attempt on this monkey, and Pale is going to die. A nice static storm out, but it is not in time, and the TP attempt is not going to be successful either. Goat is set to drop, and does. Great rotation there from Thana on the Nyx. Just more space and more time for this TB to keep farming up. That's just further and further this Monkey King is falling behind this Terrorblade.
Oh yeah, and Felt do not rest. Like, they don't have any major cooldowns beyond Metamorphosis, so they just keep trying to run, keep trying to find these kills, and this is exactly what they need to do to punish Arkosh in this downtime.
Canis. Oh, he's on the low ground. He's going to be spotted out here. Zor, the easiest setup of his life. Aether Remnant is there, and that'll be a nice, easy kill onto the mid lane. In fact, they have found Crow as well. Oh, Crow. This is not where he wants to be, and looks like he has no way out, surely. Slow it up, and he does eventually go down to Zor with the Resonant Pulse. Once again, you see Felt just taking over that Dire Triangle. Now they have an 8k net worth lead. This is definitely very bad news for Arkosh.
Yeah, and Zor with that kill actually gets his Ags as well, though.
Hey?
Goat.
They just keep finding more. Goat now being caught out. It is quite difficult for Arkosh, right? Because you don't really want to be grouped up until you have the black hole off cooldown, which it does just come off cooldown for Gremlo. But it is getting to the point in this game where it feels like you have to stick as 4 or 5. It's getting a little bit too hard to really rotate by yourself and try to kind of just farm up on your own. It's not that kind of game anymore, especially with this Nyx Assassin. I think that's what Arkosh are going to kind of be relying on now, going into this later stage of the game. We do have the go-ahead, as Comfort is saying he has 160 ping, which is pretty unfortunate. Definitely not very fun to play on that kind of ping.
Crow. Come on, Crow.
Oh, I love it. I love these guys. Sunstrike gonna fly in. Not gonna do much. Comfort's gonna be fine. Only level 5 Exort.
Gotta love that confidence coming out here from Felt as well. As soon as they get sponsored, they say, you're gonna fly in Comfort and Tay. So we'll see if that happens down the line. They've had a pretty decent run. Again, unfortunately, no chance to move up, but you never know still.
Boundless and Wukong's, but taking his blink out. Pale Horse maybe overestimating how much damage he could deal there, and is now just going to TP straight out. I mean, it's a nice attempt. He did get fairly close, but just no cigar.
Yeah, it's a pretty long cooldown to commit, though. It's like a minute 10, where you're not going to have to worry about Wukong. So that's one piece of the Wombo combo now gone from Arkosh. We'll see if Felt really wants to maximize that. And so far, they're just sitting on this massive lead on Comfort. Still has Metamorphosis. They're clearing out for tier 3 items so far, which is fair enough. They've got control of that jungle, and Arkosh are trying to retake control. They should use this time to get their farm up as well. They do have BKB, so they can force some black hole plays if they want.
They're forcing a fight straight off the bat. They want to commit this immediately, and there you see Pale Horse jumping straight in. Now the black hole, Gremlo, he caught the TB out. And that's all they wanted. They wanted to make sure Comfort just went down in this team fight. And that'll be a total of 3 going down. And that's a straight Roshan, I believe, here for Arkosh. As you can see, Pale Horse going straight in, and with the Aghanim Scepter, it does make it very, very easy to take out this Roshan. Because, of course, the statues do also hit Roshan. So there you go.
Yeah. It's perfect. And Pale Horse already having a fun time. Unfortunately, one of his monkeys spawned outside the pit. That should still be a fast Rosh regardless. Let's see if Zor wants to really play poke. He is right outside. Might want to try for a steal play here.
Can definitely give it a shot. Oh, Arkosh. The Aegis was on the deck there as that Aether Remnant did catch out the MK, but the jump was not in from our Void Spirit. Zor will still be able to make his way out. Meanwhile, Justice has been split pushing the bot lane, trying to force Arkosh back. Arkosh kind of just ignoring Justice altogether. Just letting the creeps die to the tower. They don't mind too much.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Although there is a bit of a spike here. Tay does have his BKB, so the static storm is not going to be as big of an issue for Quap. Although he's forced to use it just to get out of that of that glimpse.
Oh boy, that's a 10-second charge gone for Tay, and that's not really how you want to use it. That's a lot of value out from Goad. A very, very nice play indeed. And he'll know that 10-second BKB charge is now gone because he was not glimpsed back. There's another glimpse now coming out of the Zor, but of course he can just astral step away. Meanwhile, looks like Crow does end up dying to Justice trying to defend that bot lane. And we lost our Aegis. Pale Horse, Sunstrike. Oh, Comfort is barely going to avoid it. Pale Horse moving back in now. Comfort needs a Sundial. He will get it off. Pale Horse getting a little bit too greedy, and now the Sonic Wave is out. They'll drop a Static Storm, but it is all over the place, and Comfort has not been caught. Canis trying to run, Zor keeping him controlled up, and Canis will eventually just TP with the Ghost Walk, but that is a long TP, and he does cancel it eventually. But a disaster here for Arkosh, John. They've lost the Aegis, and they do not get the kill that they came for.
That's a massive loss to take for Arkosh. Just Comfort finding that solo Aegis takedown, and then just finding the kill afterwards on the TV. Just a bit scattered from Arkosh. Like, not quite the result they'd want. They're starting to lag behind again. 3K lead pops out here for Felt, and all of a sudden that second life for Arkosh is trying to dwindle away. They still have long BKB charges up on Gremlo. They've still got Black Hole coming up now. So this could be the time for them to play. They do not have Wukongs for 15, but that should line up with respawns. This is ample enough time for Felt to clear out that last outer tower, though. And just taking that out means that you might be forced into a high ground defense instead for Arkosh. Although they are going out with the smoke here.
They are. More importantly, John, I think Felt might be running a bit low on pause time as these DCs continue to happen. And of course, Comfort, it is out of his control. It's a bit unfortunate that he has to play with this kind of ping, but I'm wondering if Arkosh, Justice pointing out the Russian internet, I'm wondering if Arkosh forced the rulebook on Felt soon. What do you think? Do you like the format for this season, or would you prefer it to be changed up a bit?
There are like two factors for me, or at least one major factor. If the DPC is locked in to only be the DPC as it is now, we're not seeing third-party tournaments, at least any notable third-party tournaments from the bigger organizers. I think if you're confined to the space with nothing else going on, then it makes sense to make the teams maybe play a little bit more, because your entire future in the DPC is dictated by how you place in here. So pause time's gone, and they go ahead with the unpause.
Oh, straight in. Yeah, they smoked up. They knew that Felt would probably know they was smoked up for more that pause time, and they get the disconnected player of all things. Oh, it's disgusting behavior here from Arkosh once again, Jonathan. Disgusting. I don't think they needed a black hole in John. He was disconnected.
Yeah, definitely a bit overkill, committing that and the BKB, but they wanted to ensure they found a kill, and they did. Biggest target on the map taken out. At the least, since Comfort is dead, that minute where they're not paused doesn't hurt as much, so they don't need to worry too much. Hopefully Felt can sort out those issues, but Arkosh now, they've got a bit of an advantage. When you take out the biggest network hero disconnected,
oh, nice
you lose a lot, and yeah, that should get Pale Horse out safely, and maybe even go offensively if you want to against Tay.
I think he's baiting for Tay. There aren't many heroes from Arkosh, but they are slowly making their way in. The only problem is that there are other heroes here from Felt, but now a nice 8th of Remnant out from Crow. They have not got all the control, but now Zor's jumped straight in onto the Disruptor. He will just try and run away. Gremlo, Pale Horse, both coming in from the side, trying to take this fight. Zor being left alone, but does Astral step out of there. And now Justice getting a kill onto Crow as they go in. It is officially a 4v4 now. But the Cold Snap is there from Canis onto the Void Spirit, and that'll be Zor going down. Meanwhile, Tay still moving forward with a great Sonic Wave, killing off Goad, but does not get Gremlo, who will BKB and TP out of there. And somehow, Felt still managed to win that team fight.
Yeah, it's a really good trade, 2 for 1. They did take 2 supports for their core, so maybe not the ideal in terms of the targets they have found, but they are making it work somehow. There is some micro now onto Comfort. That should be from Zor, so I think it's whoever's dead gets control Comfort, and then maybe... I don't really think it's a good idea to let your Kotl focus on controlling 2 heroes. Kotl just needs to cast so many spells in the middle of these fights. You focus on that positioning, so we'll see if they keep control once heroes respawn. But they are trying to maximize this downtime as best as they can so far, and this is going to be an issue for Felp. Like, they may be finding these trades, but if all you find are supports, Arkosh will slowly but surely close the gap, especially since you are a player down.
Naturally. This is the second game as well that we've had where we've had a player disconnect. I feel like we're the ones that are causing the problems here, John. We're cursed or something. The second time. And the last series was also very important. So, very unfortunate here for Felt. Yeah, they're not really playing for anything, though. Just a bit of pride for themselves. Maybe trying to kick Arkosh out of that upper division spot that they could potentially have. Arkosh still grouping up down the bot lane, looking to see if they can pick off this Terrorblade, but it is only an illusion. Of course, Comfort, or at least the person controlling Comfort, has moved into the mid lane. And I guess the one positive for Comfort right now, being disconnected, is he's playing Terrorblade, so you can just continuously send illusions in, and they're not too hard to micro. Like, you can just kind of attack command them in a lane, and they can just go push out the lane for you. And on top of that, they have got the Cloak of Flames, so that really allows you to push out lanes even better with these illusions, without really having to micro the main hero that well. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, at the least there's still some contribution coming out. Unfortunately, because of it being a man down, they're not really able to defend too well. Bot tier 2 goes down for free for Arkosh. They get enough gold to get this Ags upgrade up on Crow. So the spell steal is now a lot more potent. The spam is going to be annoying. The constant plays out from Crow now. With this spike on Rubik, it's going to be very hard to deal with. And I think that's something you have to respect now on Felt's end.
Absolutely. You see Pale Horse now going for that Eye of Skadi pickup. Octarine Core now up and available for Gremlo, so all his cooldowns are a lot lower. He's also going for that Refresher Orb straight after that, so he really wants to make the big plays here for his team. I think they're just going to wait it out patiently. Mind you, you have the BKB Black Hole up, so it may be a decent enough time for Arkosh to go for a big smoke up, but they don't really have much vision of the side of Team Feld. Apart from Tay on the Queen of Pain, who is forced to BKB and blink away from Kaina's Vulpus. He should be just fine to get himself out. They really can't keep up with him, I don't believe. But it will give Goat a bit of time to get some deep observe wards out.
It's really unfortunate for Tay. Like, that's the second BKB use we've seen just to escape. It is down to 7 seconds now, so you're losing out on time with spell immunity you've got. And it just makes it harder for Co-op to stand and fight. There's so many spells, so much control here from Arkosh that they can make use of. And now, while that BKB ticks down, you're not going to have as much of a window to maximize your spell immunity. And Arkosh, they're just keeping that pressure up. They're constantly shoving in these lanes, grouped up as much as possible. As you mentioned, they have gotten some forward wards out, so they could maybe try to go hunting. The Roche is set to respawn in about 1 minute 30, so they could just wait out for that moment as well. They've got really good control in a tight spot like that Roche pit, and Felt, again, being a player down, it's very hard to contest something like the Roche.
That it is. All lanes just being forced out. Gremlo would have loved to jump in for that black hole there on the Void Spirit, but Zor does make his way out. They'll get the tier 1 top tower though. They get something for their trouble. In fact, they might just keep going for this tier 2 top tower, because again, they know that the defense from Feld isn't really going to be that great. If I say that, of course, double resonant pulse will generally clear out a full creep wave, so Zor takes care of that. Roshan's still 45 seconds away from spawning up. And instead, into the mid-tier 2 tower they go. This Necro 1 book, slowly but surely, they'll get some damage up.
Yeah, I mean, you are seeing some decent enough deep push coming out from Felt, just with the illusion spam. So, as you mentioned, Comfort still has some opportunities to contribute, at least with his hero. Tay asking if they can renew pause time. I don't believe so. We'll see if Kyle responds at some point, but that's probably a no. So they're still going to have to play it down, which is really unfortunate, as Comfort just can't seem to reconnect. And the Roche timer you're talking about is starting to tick up. Tier 2 mid is slowly melting through. They do have good deep push with the Keeper of the Light as well. So they have kind of kept their Tier 2 safe, but it's down to less than half HP. At the least, there are some wards here to watch the pit for Felt, so they'll know if Arkosh does make that move in. Looks like they will.
Alright. Roshan to get started. We know that Felt cannot really try and counter this. I suppose your best place to try and steal it, and that's really on Zor or Tay on the quad, but I'd say Zor is the better candidate. He is around, but he's not going to try and make the play. They're just going to allow this Roshan to go down. That'll be an Aegis once again going to Pale Horse. He even takes the cheese for himself. And Arkosh, they can slowly but surely continue just farming up and trying to get the net worth advantage back their way. That being said though, Comfort is still top of the net worth board. And is still farming quite nicely regardless of whether he's disconnected or not. So, still great news for the side of Felt in that sense. Hopefully, you have Comfort reconnecting. Sure, I'd be happy to come back.
Definitely. And he's got some good items waiting for him on the tier 4 drops as well once that's there. Illusionist Cape is available here for Felt. They just haven't tossed it out.
Oh, I caught Tay.
King. Oh.
He BKB'd out as well. Very unfortunate stuff. Meanwhile, bot lane Gremlo committed the black hole and did manage to kill off the Nyx Assassin and almost kills off Zor. Zor with his BKB trying to escape now and is going to make it out, but so is Gremlo. And in that mid lane, the T3 tower is going to be under siege. They've got the buybacks available. But how do you defend this? Who's going to micro the TB in a 5v5 team fight? They're going to try. Onto Pale Horse. Kinetic Field is there with the Static Storm being dropped onto the TB. They want him dead, and they might just get him as well. The Balor Strike is there from Pale Horse. Buybacks are still available, and they will commit it now onto Tay. That melee barracks getting very, very low, but so is Pale Horse on the MK. Glimpse back is there onto Zor. Zor still trying to survive, but no Astral Step charges. Sonic Wave is out, but the cheese was eaten by our MK, so he will survive. And they're just going to commit all their buybacks. But of course, Arkosh, they're just going to back off. Or are they? Back into Zor. They'd love a dieback on this Void Spirit, and they will get it. Oh, this is horrible stuff now for Felt. How do you defend like this, John?
It's difficult. You can't buy back a disconnected player, so you're just kind of stuck in a situation where you're losing at least 2 lane of racks. The good thing is the top tier 2 is still up, so you're not going to lose any more. It's a bad spot.
In. Gremlo, no black hole, does pop the BKB to survive the damage output. Thana will buy back. They're still trying to buy time. They have faith that their TB will connect eventually. But they are 2 Raxes down. They can't get Megged because the top tier 2 tower is still up and available. But they could just go straight for the tier 4 towers, and I think Pale Horse might have the same idea. Canis, Vulpus, and Pale do go in. Without that Keeper of the Light up, it's very tough to defend, but they have the TB coming in again.
I mean, at the least, you've got 2 dead players, so one of them can control the TB in these fights, but tier 4 is gone, and the Ancient's exposed. 2 siege creeps as well.
Yeah, they've got Wukong's command to boot with the Aegis up, and Black Hole will come out, but it's cancelled by the Spy Carapace. But will it matter? Probably not. Tay, he does blink out in time, but the Ancient is under siege, and Pale Horse still wants to kill him to the quad. He will not get it, but Arkosh do manage to take game number 1 And what an unfortunate set of events here for Felt. And again, luckily for Felt, they aren't really playing for anything. They don't really have anything to play for this game, but I'm sure they just want to try and get a final victory for the season to end it off. And of course, every victory does matter because you might have a sponsor watching or a potential sponsor watching. For now, though, with this disconnect, it's going to be very, very difficult. And of course, John, we do have a game update according to Kyle, so we'll go up down our games, and hopefully Comfort is back for game number 2. If there is going to be an extended wait, you'll probably see it pop up on the screen once we know about it. So with that, it is MLP Dota, it's JohnXFire. We'll be back very, very soon, hopefully, for game number 2.